This sounds so fucking toxic to me.
So who cares? Why not do your own thing and let them say what they want?
What's up, guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be taking a look at, is it okay to keep secrets from your partner from the school of life? So the reason that I wanted to do this video is I am very against everything that this video stands for, in that I don't like the idea of keeping secrets or lying to someone that you respect or that you care about. I don't believe that most people who say like I'm protecting them or I'm protecting their feelings are actually doing so. I think a lot of lying stems from the fear of rejection or the fear of confrontation and what will happen to them selfishly, and not necessarily like a self-righteous I want to protect this person's feelings. On top of that, I believe it's counterproductive to self-growth to coddle or to censor things from people so that they just never get stronger because they never hear the truth. I also think if you really respect someone, then you should give them the truth and allow them to do with that information what they will, so that they have the full picture of everything and can make informed decisions about stuff. So overall, in my opinion, if you care about the person, you should not lie to them, even white lies, because those things can turn into a bigger issue. And also because if you want to actually be transparent in your relationship and get closer with the person, then you want the person to actually get to know you and the real you. This video comes from a company called the School of Life. I think it's actually like a place that you can go to get help with your life, as well as being a channel that makes a bunch of philosophical videos, but their videos tend to be along the anti-romantic line. So romantics believe that like love can be perfect and love can be beautiful, and like a bunch of romanticized visions of love, life, and all of that, and what it's like to be in a relationship, whereas reality is a little bit more harsh. Honestly, when things boil down, which is something I agree with the School of Life on, love is just a chemical reaction in the brain to make us procreate so our species lives on. I've always been a romantic myself, so it's interesting to kind of quell that cognitive dissonance I have in my head where I'm like, I love romanticizing everything about love. I want someone to chase me and fall in love with me forever and never get over me and stuff, but at the same time I'm like, that's probably not healthy, and all those things you see in the movies and the TV shows and in the music that I grew up with. Eminem, like crazy fucking you murder the people you love if you can't have them type stuff, you know? That's probably where I got all of the brutality fetishizing. All of that is just a weird humanized romanticism of what love is and not actually real love. So I try to learn a little bit from everything I watch, and the School of Life usually I can take little tidbits from, but this one I just wholeheartedly disagree with. It's only 3 minutes and 33 seconds, so we're gonna go through most of this video. I will link the original down in the description if you guys want to check it out. School of Life is cool. It offers a different perspective, so check it out if you like. Let's go ahead and get into this.
Most of the time, we have to keep so many things private in order not to offend and hurt people. We can't reveal very much about who we really are. Keeping secrets is just the price we have to pay in order to be liked.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I think everyone knows deep down that they have these flaws and imperfections and, you know, quirks about themselves as well. And I think finding people who you can truly be yourself with, no matter what yourself might be, is important. And I also think that keeping small white lies from your friends to try to not hurt their feelings is inherently selfish. Even like they assert, like, you're just trying to get people to like you or whatever. So it's irritating when I hear people go like, oh yeah, I white lie in order to protect people's feelings. It's like, no, you just don't want confrontation, or you don't want to feel bad because you might have hurt someone, but in the end you're actually giving them your honest opinion, which might help them later in the future develop to be a better person. Self-actualization is so important, and I think coddling and censoring things is literally only going to make people remain infantile and in the dark, which is not something that I would do to someone that I care about.
Then imagine the day you meet a very special person and fall in love. What makes them special is that at last you no longer have to lie around them. You can admit to important truths. You'll be rewarded for sharing your deepest self. The weirder the secret, the better. Nothing seems too shocking or explicit. You can explain that you find a mutual acquaintance arrogant or mean, or that you think some supposed masterpiece of a book is actually very boring. You can explain that you like pulling hair during sex, or have always been excited by ropes.
Yeah, hot. Carry on.
Love is born out of a new possibility for honesty. But this sharing of secrets sets up in our minds and in our collective culture a powerful and potentially very problematic ideal the notion that if two people properly love one another, then they must always tell each other the truth about everything. Yet over the long term, there are always going to be things we'll feel have a power to hurt and deeply offend those we love.
I think that's fine. And I think if there's something that, imagine thinking something that would deeply hurt or offend your significant other, and then that person is staying with you, even though you think those things, without knowing that you think those things. So, like, let's say you are no longer attracted to them, or you think that they're, like, inherently stupid, or you think that they will never get good at whatever the fuck they're trying to get good at. Honestly, if someone thought those things about me, I would want to know so that I could decide whether or not I even want to be with that person again. Imagine being stuck with someone who doesn't fully support you in something that you really care about so much that if they told you they didn't support you, it would deeply offend you, and then you kind of get stuck for a long time in your fertile years with these people, with this person who isn't the right fit for you, and on top of that isn't giving you the respect you deserve to tell you that they don't believe in you. That's a wild notion to me, to just be like, well, I don't want to offend, I don't want to rock the boat, so let's just all be cookie cutter versions of everyone. Let's just be some kind of watered down versions of ourselves, some inauthentic versions of ourselves in order to placate the other person that we supposedly love.
This brings us up against a fundamental paradox within the modern understanding of love. Keeping secrets seems like a betrayal of a relationship. At the same time, the complete truth will, if shared, place a union in mortal danger.
I don't think a good union will ever be placed in mortal danger with the truth. And I think there is some decorum that might be necessary when you're telling the truth. Like, don't be an asshole, or don't say it in a way that the person won't hear it and instead will hear an insult. But you should be honest with that person. As much as you want to say it gently, you should still fucking say it, because if you love them, then you owe them that respect.
We are perhaps so conscious of the bad reasons for hiding things that we haven't paid enough attention to the noble reasons why, from time to time, true loyalty may lead one to say very much less than the whole truth.
I don't think there's ever a time where the word loyalty can be synonymous with lying to the person in order to save their feelings. I think that that's a very, very fucking, what's the word? It's like a narcissistic idea of protection. It's like, you need me to protect you from the truth, so you don't go into one of your histrionic fucking rages and yell at me and stuff and make me fucking feel bad because you feel bad. It's just a horrible way to deal with something that might be uncomfortable. Like, being completely open and honest without being mean to the person that you love is the ultimate form. And yes, I agree with what they're saying. It's the ultimate form of fucking loyalty. Not being like, oh, I know my girlfriend is going to be hurt by this, so let's coddle her for the rest of her fucking life and make her think that I think things I don't think so that she'll stay with me and remain calm. It's like control, almost, a narcissistic control.
We're so impressed by honesty, we forget the virtues of politeness, which doesn't have to mean a cynical withholding of important information, just a dedication to not rubbing someone up against the full and more hurtful aspects of our natures.
Again, it's just basically saying that this person can't handle the truth or the true nature of a person when they also have a true nature. So it's very odd to me. It's like two people lying to each other because they care about each other, but really it's because they don't want that person to be hurt, which will in turn make them grow and make them better able to make decisions about the relationship and about themselves in the future. If someone's too fragile to hear the truth, then the best you can do is keep giving it to them in small doses, kind of like an exposure therapy type thing, until they can handle it. Not just being like, I know exactly what I need to protect you from, milady. It's just gross to me. Like, this is one of the worst takes. Like, often I feel like their takes are slightly off. Interesting and thought-provoking, but still slightly off. But this one, in my opinion, is the most egregious. I just can't stand the idea of a self-righteous lie to someone that you so vehemently say that you respect.
It's ultimately no great sign of kindness to insist on showing someone else our entire selves at all times. Repression, a certain degree of restraint, and a dedication to editing one's pronouncements belong to love as much as a capacity for explicit confession.
Okay, so what he's saying there is they both are important, explicit confession and editing yourself. I don't really understand why this makes sense to anyone. If you guys want to post down in the comments where you disagree with me and why, I would love to hear that. And I don't want to hear like, oh my God, I'm protecting their feelings. For instance, the part about politeness. Politeness is just a mechanism that you use in order to get through the day when you encounter strangers whom you don't care about. It's not to be used for someone that you do care about, that you're building a life with, that you respect. It's more not to ruin a stranger's day or not to burden a stranger with your bullshit when they don't know you, they don't care about you, you don't know them, you don't care about them. When you care about someone, you're willing to have an open and explicit discussion about things to make each other better and to make each other understand each other better, because the more you edit for the sake of someone's feelings, or the more you try not to rock the boat with your, I don't know, weird kinks or the lies that you've told, the more you're driving a wedge between the person. So I guess if the reason that you're dating someone is just to procreate and to not have any kind of actual bond that makes each other better, then sure, maybe you have to use the politeness that you would use with a stranger. But if you actually want to build a partnership, it's counterintuitive.
The person who cannot tolerate secrets, who in the name of being honest always has to share everything, information so wounding it cannot be forgotten, that person is no friend of love.
That person is no friend of keeping things non-confrontational. How is that not a friend of love? To tell the hard truths, to say things that are hard to say, and to have the hard conversations is definitely an explicit show of love.
Furthermore, if we suspect, and we should rather regularly, if the relationship is a good one, if we suspect that our partner might be lying a bit as well, maybe about what they're thinking about, or how they judge our work, or about where they were last night.
I love that he says about where they were last night. He's literally just explicitly saying that they should cheat, that they should say that your work is great when it's a piece of shit to them, and that they shouldn't think about hot dogs, which might be a euphemism for dick with some jizz sprinkled on top. I'm not sure. This sounds so fucking toxic to me. So fucking toxic. Like, if you want to enter into that kind of relationship where you're like, I don't want to know, my heart hurts too much, then like, sure, whatever. That is something that you're entering into with consent, which is fine. If people are like, don't ask, don't tell in their relationships, I actually think that's kind of hot and interesting, and definitely something that might work if both parties are privy to it. But to just not tell your partner where you were the night before, it's pretty wild to me.
It's perhaps best not to lay into them like a sharp inquisitor, however intensely we yearn to do just that. It may be kinder, wiser, and perhaps more in the true spirit of love to pretend we simply didn't notice.
What is this ideal's motivation for love? It has to just be to procreate and further the species. But he doesn't explicitly say that. He just says love. Like, no, love is better fostered in an environment where there's honesty and truth and vulnerability and the possibility that there might be some kind of strife that they can overcome together in order to be stronger. And why do we want to lay into them like an inquisitor? Because we want to know the truth. So if you have the impulse to lay into them like an inquisitor and they have the impulse to do the same, but you're both lying to each other, it just sounds like a shit fucking toxic relationship, in my opinion. Maybe I'm being too idealistic in this sense, but I do believe that when people tell me the truth, if I have the right mindset about it, I get stronger anytime I hear something that hurts or offends me. I can't remember the last time I've been offended, and being okay with a person, no matter who they are deep down inside, and allowing them to tell you about their flaws and the weird things that they think and the things that might hurt you that they think will bring you closer together while still loving them for them, because you choose to love them and their flaws. It's interesting because I watched a video by the School of Life where they talked about, I think it was like a TED talk by the creator of the company, where he talked about loving a leper. He said the true measure of love is if you can love a leper, because technically you can love anyone as long as you choose to love them and choose to love their flaws and keep working at it. And this just seems to be opposite to that. Like, let's not love each other's flaws when we love and respect each other. Let's just not talk about them. So we have this pseudo perfect relationship where we both yearn to know more, where we're keeping each other at a distance, and where it's overall just toxic for the sake of, I don't know, furthering the species or whatever he deems to be love. That isn't my version of love. That's pretty much the end of the video. There's some kind of like ad space for the School of Life at the end. Again, I'll link the original down in the description, but I would love to hear what you guys think. Very short video, and if you want me to respond to anything else, please do let me know. Send me links and stuff, because I like doing these little response videos that are a little bit more deep than being a reaction channel, but that still critique other people's work, because sometimes I feel like just talking to myself or just talking to you guys, where you guys can't really have a back and forth dialogue with me as frequently, kind of puts me in an echo chamber. So I like to like watch things that I would usually disagree with and then kind of critique them. Lately, I've been watching The Take, which is kind of like, it's like a progressive take on a bunch of different stereotypes in film and pop culture, which I've been finding pretty interesting because there's a lot of things I agree with them on. Like, for instance, I watched a video about how Ross from Friends is like a toxic nice guy, and they gave all of the examples of how he completely like gaslit and just treated fucking Rachel like shit and was always only looking out for himself. And he would become extremely toxic when Rachel would get a new boyfriend or get a new opportunity, even like a new job, because of his jealousy and his need to control her. It was quite interesting. But then they throw in little tidbits that I completely don't agree with about like misogyny or cultural appropriation, etc. So that's another channel you can check out, and please do send me anything you want me to react to or give my opinion on, because I'm always looking for new content. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Let me know what you think.